Welcome to the Dumb Idea Podcast Show with Mike and Alex. We thank you for joining us as we have a couple of beers and a cigar and talk about what's going on in our lives. Grab an adult beverage and a smoke and settle in with us. Please like, subscribe, and comment on each show so we can hear whether you agree or disagree with our take on things. Listen wherever your favorite podcasts are and at www.dumbideapodcast.com.
So for those of you that listen to the local beer test, we had a good time with that and decided that we would start with some more local content. And this is just expanding upon that idea. So this episode will be dealing with some issues that are happening in the Anne Arundel County area, around Annapolis, Severna Park, Broadneck Peninsula, and a little bit beyond. So today, my son's baseball team played in their championship game, the 9U championship game, which they won. Congrats to them. And was looking at the parks that they played in and the condition of those parks, which leaves a little bit to be desired. Typical stuff that you find for little kid baseball. I mean, this is in the major leagues here, so we're not looking for manicured grass and perfect infields and all that stuff. But maybe the absence of weeds would be nice. Or, the yellow padding on top of the fence. Or even a fence would also be a nice addition to these parks. The thing is, we spend a lot of money to live here and pay good taxes to live here, and other regions, neighboring counties, have much nicer facilities than we do. So just want to get into maybe why that is, and why ours are lacking or why theirs are better, or what we could do to kind of improve that, and some other issues that are affecting the infrastructure and development in the county here.
Well, to add on that, my girls play softball. We play at the same park as you guys do, and you guys have probably the nicer of the fields, right? Mm-hmm. The fields that we're on with the softball are horrendous. Like the weeds are unbelievable, and those fields would have been a lot worse. Except we get one of the dads on our team has an industrial tractor, mm-hmm. and upon himself, outside of the county, outside of the baseball, softball club that everyone participates through, he brought his tractor down with his tiller, and he tilled up the infield of both softball fields.
I saw that, and I was wondering, we thought that was a county tractor and why they didn't hit our field.
Right, no.
So that was someone on his own, using his own equipment,
yep.
His own gas,
yes,
doing that on his own. Okay.
On his own. And actually, the first time he did it, the head of the baseball softball club kind of got up in his case about it. Mm-hmm. All because when he did it, he kind of tilled up those metal things that go in for that are into the ground for the bases.
Yeah,
like that's what he was pissed about.
Well, they could just dig them back in.
Right, well, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
After the field was tilled up, we ran the little go-kart on it to kind of smooth it out a little bit, and then we put those things back in after the field was compacted back down.
Yeah.
Good as new. But this guy on his own dime did all of this, and a couple of three other dads went out there and kind of helped him out. And when the guy complained that he did this, and we were out there, we were like, well, what are you doing for these fields? Look at them.
Yeah.
These are atrocious fields. Like hard as rock dirt. Weeds coming out.
A solid hit grounder is coming up like it's like bouncing off of concrete. Like that dirt's not slowing it down at all.
I mean, we were like, what are you mad about?
Yeah.
We just did something free of charge for you that either you or the county should be doing here.
Yeah. So the way that works is the league, and I know because I coached. So the field maintenance there, I guess the county has some deal. I'm not sure how it works, and maybe someone out there can know and can let us know in a comment section. But as I understand it, the league maintains the fields. Now, I think the county mows the grass. Right. But as far as the infields itself, that little tractor thing, that 3-wheeled machine there, like with the bent tines that's supposed to groom the fields, that's all coaches and volunteers doing that.
Yeah. I think how it works is, so there's a county league, the Anne Arundel County baseball and softball leagues, right? And each town or group has their own entity. Mm-hmm. So like Broadneck has their own.
Yeah.
So Broadneck fields softball and baseball teams, and they play other towns like South River,
Lakeshore,
yeah. Havenwood, Pasadena, Glen Burnie, Odenton, Severn, like those areas out there. And essentially they all come together through the county. Mm-hmm. And the county basically says you can use county fields and use us as an organizational tool to get your schedules mm-hmm. of who you can play and who you can't play. And in exchange, you can charge whatever you want. Each club can do, you each act as your own entity. You can charge what you want, but you're going to maintain the field.
Yeah.
The county will mow.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is you get vastly different conditions across the county. So, mm-hmm. for example, for us, I don't think you guys don't travel around the county as much. You guys mostly play the Broadneck teams?
Yeah, so this was the rec league. Now fall ball we did travel because there weren't as many teams.
So our rec league, though, is essentially a travel team. Yeah. So we'll go play Odenton out at Gork. We'll play Severn up around Quarterfield Road. Havenwood is Pasadena. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the South River Edgewater teams, right? And Crofton, that's another one. So Odenton has, they play at Gork Park, which is very nice and very well maintained. Severn, and I don't remember the exact name of the park that they use, but they have a beautiful compound for baseball and softball. Nice fences with that yellow padding on the top. Yeah. Nice high fences. Nicely done dugout areas with some concrete.
Yeah, rather than the half lean-to shelter with the holes in the roof.
Right. So so the fields that we're dealing with over in our park, the metal flashing is half off half the time. Some of it's laying on the ground.
Yeah.
The benches are made of concrete. Mm-hmm. There's barely an opening on one end of each of the dugouts, where they're just in shambles. The dirt is always compact. The weeds are out of control.
Well, and if it rains, if you have games scheduled for a Saturday, and it rained, you get a decent rain Wednesday or Thursday, you're probably not playing Saturday.
Yeah, it depends on the field, but
especially
you're right.
For the right-handed hitters. Now, my son hits left, so he's good.
He's got fresh dirt all the time.
But the poor right-handed hitters, I mean, they're standing a good 2 inches below the plate.
Right.
And the thing is with this county and this arrangement, and it maybe has something to do with, they have priority use over the fields. I'm sure that.
Right, and they do. Yeah, that's what they get.
Now the softball field at Arnold Park is beautiful.
Right.
That's a nice field, but that's where the 14U travel teams play and all that. It's a bigger field.
Right.
And there's some nicer fields over there for the older kids. But the little kids just kind of get stuck with this. And I think it's even worse for the girls, the softball teams, because, your team, there's no machine to pitch to them. A dad went out and bought his own.
Right.
Now for machine pitch baseball, they have machines and generators, but you have to bring the generator out. There's no electricity at these fields, so you have to bring a generator out. But if you go to a neighboring, like Prince George's County, the fields are beautiful.
Right.
Now, Prince George's County is a little bit different arrangement because it all falls under Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, which they have a lot of money. It's a bi-county agency, so it's between Prince George's and Montgomery. So they have really nice facilities that they can play on. I mean, Watkins Park is beautiful.
That's a gorgeous park.
Yeah, there's a beautiful park on Walker Mill Road. I mean, it's a soccer facility, baseball. I mean, it's in the city of Bowie, has some really nice parks, and that's city of Bowie is independent of Maryland Park, but that's some really nice stuff.
Yep.
I haven't done too much in Annapolis because I imagine the city has its own recreational facilities, but again, like here for the amount of money that we spend on these for our property taxes and things like that, like it should be nicer. Now, if the league is agreeing to maintain it, or maintain at least the baseball playing surfaces,
right?
I'm okay with that. But
they need to step up, though.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is that where our kids played, it's a school, right? So I wonder if the county's a little bit hamstrung on what they can do because it's a school versus a park. So like that park out in Severn was a park. It was not a school.
Right.
So I wonder if the county puts a little bit more attention into just a straight park versus the schoolyards.
Right, but then here's the other part of that. So where that school is, where does Anne Arundel County Public Schools maintenance end, and county parks maintenance begin?
Right.
So that's kind of the weird, like, who's doing what where, or they both kind of using an excuse to, well, that's theirs. Oh, well, that's theirs, and doing nothing.
And the problem is, when it comes to kids and kids sports like this, that shouldn't be the argument. The argument should be, okay, well, what can we do, right? And let's say it's the baseball club, the Broadneck Baseball Softball Club. Okay, well, I'm sure if you went to the parents and you said, it's going to be an extra $30 to $40, but we're going to be able to make the fields a lot better. I don't think there's one parent that's paying for this that would say, no, I don't think so. That's going to be why I'm not going to sign my kid
That's going to break me.
Right.
Or, even like if that league is doing, because I know they have the, if you volunteer at the concession stand, you can, get rid of, you can.
You get your volunteer money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe include field maintenance.
Right.
Because I'll tell you what, I'd rather go and rake a field and drag a field than serve hot dogs.
Yeah. Like I said, with that guy that brought his tractor, his industrial tractor with a tiller, and the three others of us that went out with rakes and shovels, we didn't get our volunteer money back, but we don't care. I'd rather them keep the $60 and make the experience better. Now, I know for a fact, I've seen the boys' uniforms for Broadneck, and it's basically T-shirts.
Yeah.
Do they give you the pants or no?
They come with it.
Okay.
But so my son now likes the open bottoms. So he likes that pro look. So
all you got to do is cut the elastic, man. You got it.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. But luckily, the neighbor's kids are older, and we got some hand-me-down stuff, so he gets his pro look that way.
So the girls, though, the softball jerseys, even from 6U on up, they get real jerseys with their number and name on the back.
Yeah.
Actual baseball or softball pants and high socks, and a belt to go with the pants. Yeah, so it's a legit uniform.
Yeah, so my son got a belt this year. Now the younger years when they're real little guys, there's no belt because the belt
it's all elastic.
And it's so small.
Right.
I mean, we're gonna have a 13-inch belt. Right. So I can kind of see some of the differences there, but it leads to some other things with the county where we're spending money, or we're spending we do pay our I would say the taxes here are exorbitant because they're not.
They're not bad.
Other counties have much higher taxes than we do, so
right.
And they get low. Like our schools are for the most part pretty good here.
Right.
Where you go to some other parts of the state, you pay ridiculous property taxes, and the schools are still junk.
Right.
So that's good, but then something as simple as trash. So the bane of my existence, and grumpy suburbanite dad's going to come out here, is trash day. I hate trash day with a passion, mainly because we only have one of them. So you got to get everything out. And I have a family of 3 boys. There's 5 of us. 3 boys make a lot of trash.
All right.
So that means I'm taking out 2 of the big wheeling, sometimes 3 trash cans, recycling bin, sometimes another recycling bin. For whatever reason, on trash day, it's always raining. It can be a beautiful day, and the storm cloud like Eeyore comes and lands over my head on trash day, and I'm already irritated to do it anyway. But when we first moved here, we had 2 trash days.
Yep.
So if you missed it, now the first one was just trash. There's no recycling,
right.
But at least, hey, you know what? I missed trash day. At least I get this stinky stuff out of here
right.
on Tuesday or Monday, whatever day it was. Now we have 1. So. And anyone who's from around here likes to eat crabs. When do you eat crabs? Do you eat crabs on a Tuesday night? No. Chances are you eat crabs and drink Natty Boh or whatever you're drinking on Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Right.
Well, what does that mean? Now we have to wait until Friday to get rid of this trash. So you have crab guts stinking up. Every critter in the world is just hanging around your trash cans.
Those turkey vultures. Anyone that lives in this area knows about those turkey vultures.
Oh, yeah.
And
they're so I don't know how they fly. They're so stuffed full of, picking trash apart.
Between deer carcasses and crab guts, they're fed very well.
Yeah. Now, my in-laws, they have, I think they have some form of waste removal 4 days a week.
Yeah.
It's like recycling day, couple trash days, yard waste day. Now, granted, they're in New York and they pay $14,000 a year in property taxes, which
right.
I'll gladly not pay.
Right. Yeah.
However, can we get our trash day back? Would it be that hard? They got rid of it back in 2008 when the market crashed, or I think it may have been more around 2010 for us here, but.
It was whenever the assessments finally came in on the lowered house values, which lowered the tax revenue.
Yeah.
And plus when all the foreclosures were happening and people weren't paying the taxes because they couldn't afford them. So yeah, essentially the tax revenue took a tank, and they said, okay, well, in order to compensate for this, we're going to only have 1 trash and recycle day.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I don't remember if they said or not, when tax revenues go back up, they would take a look at it. But once they take something away and can save money, they're never going to bring that back because they're going to spend the money somewhere else.
Right, on some other stupid nonsense.
Right. And I would love to know where that money's going.
Yeah.
Because in this county, I don't see a whole lot of money being spent on people.
It's not going to baseball fields.
No, it's definitely it's not going to baseball fields. It's not. We have some of the worst recreational facilities, and even the ones that you pay extra for, like Quiet Waters, Downs Park, and Kinder Farm Park. I think those are the 3 county parks where you pay your $30 a year and you can get into all 3 parks for the whole summer.
Mm-hmm.
Even some of those, like we went to Downs Park, and they had just put in a brand new playground.
Mm-hmm.
They revamped it. They touted this thing. This is a great county improvement. We went there. It was so small.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go to Watkins Park in PG County, the thing is massive.
Oh, and then the cool thing about that park is that it's got an awesome playground that's set up like was the fairy tale playground, and I've taken my kids there. Right. They love it.
Right. It's the theme.
Yeah.
It's the fairy tale theme.
Yeah, and then they have the nature center there. Mm-hmm. It's all free. You walk through and you see all the nature. It's like a little zoo. Like the boys love it. Snakes and all kinds of birds and stuff in there.
And this is a park that we pay to go to.
Yeah.
We pay additional to go to this park.
And Watkins Park's all free.
Right. Watkins Park is free. We're paying additional to go to these parks, and it's amateur hour.
Yeah.
And look, I get it. Playgrounds are expensive to put stuff in. Like one piece of equipment, small piece of equipment's like $1 million. I get it. But this is a park that supposedly is self-sustaining with the other 3 parks because of the park revenue it gets. And this was the park this was the play area you were proud of that you put in.
Yeah.
If I was a county official right now, I'd be ashamed of the services that are being provided to the citizens here. Mm-hmm. I mean, the best thing we've gotten in this county is that walking trail or the biking trail along College Parkway.
Which they still fight about. It still isn't finished.
Well, they still fight about it, but how many years has this thing taken just to get halfway down College Park or a quarter of the way down College Parkway?
So
build it already.
Yeah, finish it. So I got into cycling kind of amateurish. Well, really, not kind of, definitely amateurish. Probably in.
You're not full spandex yet. You're not pro.
Yeah, no, and no one wants to see me in spandex anyway. I'm say that's my gift to the community. But I got into cycling back in, say, 2013, 14 neighborhood, and I would always ride the B&A trail, which is it's a nice trail, but I would never ride the bike from here to there because you have to ride on busy roads, and especially when I have the trailer with one of the, at the time, a baby in it, I'm not gonna, like, if I get hit by a car by my own stupid mistake, that's fine, but I'm not gonna put one of my kids in that position. So I would drive, but then they talked about building this trail. So part of it went in, and I think it went from like Broadneck High School to the Cape. That's as far as it went. And then it took years for them to connect it up to Baydale, which, okay, but it still doesn't connect to the B&A trail, which is what you want, because then you could really ride.
Well, and that's the plan. The plan was it was supposed to go all the way to the B&A trail, so you could go from all the way down to Cape St. Clair, all the way to Baltimore if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could actually, and if you felt good enough, you could actually ride it to, because the shoulders are wide enough, you could ride it all the way to Sandy Point. Yeah. So from the Bay to Baltimore, you could ride, and then there's another connector. I think it's supposed to connect, like Odenton. I think it's the BW&A. They're all old rail trails essentially,
right?
And it's supposed, but then some guy complained that said the bikes would make too much noise, and it would disturb him. I'm like, what kind of bikes are you? They're not Harley Davidsons.
Do you remember the lady that said that it was going to be dangerous because cars would jump off the road and hit people?
Yeah. Like this is the Indianapolis. Like this is Daytona.
Well, like the only like whenever she said that, I just imagined like the car was going to veer off the road because there's a good 50 to 100 feet from the shoulder of the road to where the trail begins.
Yeah.
I'm just like, do you think this thing's going to like do a Dukes of Hazzard jump through the air, side roll, and land on top of somebody?
Yeah. Because
that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we're worried about.
Because if that were a legitimate concern, it would happen like, once a week maybe?
Sure, yeah. And guess what? It hasn't happened yet.
Right. There'd just be carnage.
In years. Yeah.
All over. There'd be just burnt out cars everywhere. They pile up because they didn't have room to put them anywhere.
But that's what, I mean, the one of the problems is like when somebody wants to do something good for the community,
there's always that guy.
There's those people that are going to speak up, and the unfortunate part is other people take them seriously.
Yeah, why?
Yeah,
why listen to that person?
I don't know.
So you say, okay, ma'am, thank you very much. Your comments have been noted.
Right,
and then do what you're going to do anyway.
Right, and then do the right thing by everyone else.
We're going to listen to this Yahoo. Now, I will say that Yahoo probably has the time to actually go to these meetings, and seek them out and find them and go to them and make their comments that where the rest of us are too busy going to practices and
working.
Yeah.
Working and feeding kids and getting through the day.
And grinding a field down because it's too jacked up to play ball on.
Yes.
But we listen to these people, and it's, you don't want to be a complete curmudgeon or troglodyte and just, but sometimes maybe you need to be that for the other way and say, no, like, this is a good, like, this really helps out the community.
Right. For every curmudgeon that goes to a meeting, there should be another guy or another woman who goes there and goes, you got to be kidding me with this garbage.
That should, actually, maybe we can make that a position.
Right.
Like the ombudsman of the rest of us.
Right. Like, the voice for the silent.
Yeah. Like, it could be you or I. We just sit there and be like, are you effing kidding me?
Right. Speaking for everyone else in the county.
Yeah.
Don't listen to this guy.
Right.
All right. We all want the trail. Don't listen to don't listen to John over here, please.
Right,
he's an idiot.
Right. He doesn't want a tree being cut down.
Right.
So, but so we know that the trash money is not going to that trail, obviously. So where's it going? And really, if it came down to it, I'd pay an extra $20 a month to get another trash day.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the thing is that we shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Tax revenue right now, especially with the home values, is at an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
And the other source of revenue this county is getting, especially in this specific area, is from developers. right? To a person, most everyone thinks that housing on this peninsula, or at least in certain parts of it, is overcrowded as it is. And even if it wasn't so overcrowded, the infrastructure, the roads can't handle additional traffic. And I know what some of these people are going to say. Oh, well, the roads are just fine for the amount of people that live here. You're right. It might be. The problem then becomes we are a thoroughfare for Ocean City.
Yes.
Where we are.
Yeah, because every idiot that has Waze goes and sees, Waze says I can save 22 seconds if I jump off and take College Parkway.
Right. So we might have infrastructure to deal with the exact number of people that live here right now, but we don't have the infrastructure to account for double the population during those months.
Right. Fridays on between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
I'm going to even throw in Thursdays.
Oh, yeah.
Thursdays and Fridays, and in the other direction, coming back, Sundays.
Yeah.
Coming back over the bridge.
Yep.
Now,
God forbid there's a crash.
If there's a crash, you're at a standstill. I remember one time when I was coming home, and I used to commute into D.C., and it took me over 4 hours to get home because of a crash on 50.
Yeah.
And look, I get it. Sometimes that happens. But it shouldn't take me, if I'm working in D.C., it shouldn't take me 2.5 to 3 hours to get home just because it's Thursday.
Right, where a marathon runner could actually run that fast, so it took you to drive it.
Right.
Now, I'm not talking you or me running the marathon. Right. I mean like an actual,
But then this county, they're taking this money from the developers to develop any plot of land. And not only are they taking money, but they're then also rezoning certain parcels of land to make it more appealing for developers to actually build these dwellings. And they're getting around the schools being at overcapacity by making them either 55 and older, or they'll take advantage of a scenario where the developer will pay to add on to the high school, which is what I believe Koch did a few years ago. They had added an additional 9 classrooms to Broadneck High School in order to get their development approved. Now, what I don't understand is why.
What about the feeder schools?
Well, right.
What happens to those schools then?
Well, but they keep saying that there's capacity if they redistrict. The problem is every time they redistrict, everyone hems and haws, and nobody. It's a NIMBY situation. Well, we don't want to put extra capacity in my school, even though we have an extra 200 seats. Yeah. We still don't want to do it here.
Or my older 2 kids went to school X. I want my youngest kid to go to school X, but by this redistricting, he's going to go to school Y.
Right.
So I don't want that to happen, and then it just doesn't.
Well, in that case, you know what? If that's what you really want, send your kid to private school.
Yeah.
Because this is public school, and you need to do what's in the best interest of the entire public you're servicing.
Yeah.
Not just your 2 kids. It doesn't work that way. Now, on the other side of things, it's like, why are we bending over backwards for these developers when the county council, and they have these open hearings about each one of these developments, and at each one of these meetings, there is not one single individual resident that says they are in favor of this. Each time they get up and they say, the county is overpopulated, or this part of the county is overpopulated. We don't need more housing. We don't need more.
Yeah.
Or we can't put more in until you update the infrastructure.
Right, and that's something like back. So when Levitt was running around building all his developments after the Second World War, so we're talking Levittown in New York, Levittown in Philadelphia, Bowie is all not old Bowie, Old Town Bowie, but the rest of Bowie, like all the sections. That was all done by Levitt. So when Levitt did it, they built every section has an elementary school. They built that, and then every couple sections has a middle school that all went to the high school. They improved fire departments. There's volunteer fire companies, stuff like that are around to serve the additional population that was going to move into these Levitt homes. So are these okay? So the developer puts an additional 9 classrooms onto Broadneck High School. Great, okay, but what does that do for the elementary school that feeds into it?
Right.
the roadways that support these communities.
The roadways are atrocious here.
Yeah.
They haven't been expanded in the last 25 years.
The only thing they did good, and the state did it, was when they added the lane to eastbound Severn River Bridge. That actually helped because I used to sit in that every single day,
right?
And it would back up from, pretty much almost Davidsonville on a busy holiday weekend.
Yep.
And you knew you were sitting in it. Now it's really it's the Bay Bridge, especially when they were doing when the one lane was shut down on the westbound span. That caused a lot of headaches, but that was from the Bay Bridge itself. It was not from the Severn River Bridge, which was what it used to be.
Right. The people that live on the peninsula now can at least get over the Severn Bridge to get home.
Yeah. So but again, the county didn't do that.
Right. It's all state.
The state, Governor Hogan and the state did that.
Right.
So, and it worked. Shockingly enough, it worked. They did something right.
Well, not if they would have listened to everyone else, because everyone was like, "Oh, there's no way this is going to work. The lane's going to be too narrow. Oh, I can't believe they're wasting their money on this." Well, guess what? It worked, and you can all eat crow.
Yeah, but now the backup coming on 50 is at 97, and that starts at pretty much at the South River, and then continues up.
That's always been it. They need to add a third lane.
Well, 97 is a disaster,
right. But they need to add a third lane in both sides, going north and south for 97.
Yeah,
they really do, because the merges there from 50 are atrocious.
Yeah, it's awful. They come in from 50 east and west and turns into 97, and that backup continues all the way up to 32.
Right.
But that's kind of off topic. But again, it used to be so bad there. That's where people were looking at their maps and ways, and hey Nancy, I found a different way to get to Ocean City. Mm-hmm. I'm the only one. No, you're not.
Right. You
and about 4,000 other morons just figure out the same thing. Now you're clogging up local roadways. Now, College Parkway East, there used to be signs. I don't know if it said local traffic only. It's almost unenforceable.
Right.
To prevent that, but it was never all the way up here onto College Parkway. You never see. And how do you enforce that? I mean,
and you get all the wahoos that say, "Well, I paid taxes in the state, so I can use that road." Yeah, you can, but you're clogging up all the other roads. And then you get the other people going, "You've been living in the county. You've been living here for 20 years. You just know you can't go anywhere on a Friday."
But why is that? Yeah, but that's acceptable.
Right, exactly. No, how about the county does their job? They expand College Parkway to be the road that it actually is used as, not what they want it to be.
Right.
And then, how about you stop adding people here? Mm-hmm. And of course, you're going to get all the super liberal people. Well, there should be more affordable housing in the area.
Affordable equals high density.
Right.
Here.
Right. And that,
that's just you're not going to have affordable housing that's not high density here.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
But it's like, look, I don't want there to be less affordable housing. I just want I want them to stop adding housing.
Right, because the housing they're adding is not affordable anyway.
No, it's not. And again, the newest one's for 55 and older. Well, there's a 55 and older down the road. There's another 55 and older down further on College Parkway.
But who's retiring here?
But my mother is on the one all the way down. Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah.
By her buying it, they could have stopped Hovnanian from building it. Mm-hmm. But they didn't.
Yeah.
She was just opportunistic and bought. I don't blame the people that buy them.
No, I don't blame
I blame the county for not stopping the development to begin with.
Now, Calvert's done a pretty good job at the development because Calvert's trying to stay primarily agricultural.
They're trying to,
but eventually, but here's the thing. The money wins out.
Right.
And, earlier you would ask, how does it get through? You and I both know how it gets through.
Right.
They grease the wheels.
But it's county government. Is it really that corrupt at this level?
My guess would be yes.
I guess so. Well, as much as I don't want to believe that it is, there's no other explanation for it because these people in the zoning and planning office that are approving these things, when they have the hearings, there's literally no one in favor of this other than the developer.
Yeah.
If you represent the people of the county, at what point are they going to do what the people in this county want?
Well, I think part of it is when you look at off-cycle elections. So you look at non-presidential years, non-midterms, and even midterms to a certain extent. But these other little elections where it's not some hotly contested governor's race or a midterm or a presidential, no one comes out for it.
No, but
you can win with a relatively small.
But is it even Republican or Democrat? Because when we had a Republican county executive, these developments got approved.
Yeah,
we have a Democrat county executive, and they're still getting approved.
Yeah, well, to me, it just goes shows that the money talks.
Right. Well, and I want to know what Davidsonville did, because Davidsonville made it so that you couldn't build a house unless it was on 2 acres or more of land.
Yeah.
How do we get that here? I had asked someone, and I won't mention their name. I had asked someone that question, and they said it's because of how this particular area is zoned as part of the county planning, which happens every 10 or so years.
Right.
So until they rewrite that, and we have to have someone advocate on this area's behalf to make this area a non-development area, or add some special caveats in there, like Davidsonville did. Somehow, someone in Davidsonville got that thrown into the county plan that they couldn't build on anything less than 2 acres, and it stopped development down there almost in its tracks. I mean, the only way you can really build down there now is if you buy your own plot of land and you build. It's not, developers aren't really going near it, and if they do, they're charging like $1.5 million for a house.
It's super expensive there. And the thing with Davidsonville is it's still it's that horse country. That's where that South County kind of starts.
Yep.
And look, I'm not saying, like, I'm not of the position that I want this place to be Davidsonville.
No, I'm not either.
If I wanted that, I would have moved to Davidsonville.
Right.
The thing is, I don't want it to become someplace where it's not livable because it's so crowded. I don't want it to become Pasadena or, even Glenburg, or you go further north, or when you get into like Wheaton, Silver Spring. Montgomery County is just developed out the wazoo.
Well, even if you went to Pasadena, the major problem there is Mountain Road, because they won't widen Mountain Road.
Yeah,
like they won't make that a true 2-lane in both directions. They've got that alternate lane in the middle, which they just did.
Yeah, that's like the one on 100. After
it's at the end of 100 when you get on a 177, which is Mountain Road. They've got, so it's 3 lanes. The middle lane changes.
When you gantries that can change.
Yeah, so the middle lane changes from either inbound or outbound based on the time of day.
And it has the gantries over top of the red X, kind of like the
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Do they ever change?
Yes.
Okay.
They do. So on the weekends, that middle lane is a turn lane, right and left. And then during the week, in the morning, it's a westbound lane. And then coming home in the evening, it's an eastbound lane.
Right. It's almost like the county wants to have its cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
It wants all these developments, but it doesn't want to make improvements to the infrastructure that surround it and support it.
Right.
But the thing is, like, even if you look at certain things, like you start getting like you have your transportation aspect, school aspect, but what happens when you start getting to public safety? And okay, well, if you're going to build this 55 and older community, your ambulance calls are going to skyrocket.
Right.
Are you going to add more medic units to Arnold Firehouse or Cape St. Clair because that's their first due? Or
Cape St. Clair, they won't even build them a bigger firehouse.
Well, they ran it was almost condemned for a while because they backed a truck into it, which it happens.
The thing is tiny.
Yeah.
For what it has to service now.
Yeah, but so now you have Arnold. There, I think there's one up at Jones Station near the Jiffy Lube. So are you going to increase those crews? If you build a 55 and older community, you're going to, one would naturally expect that you're going to have, and you build more of anything, but especially that population, you're going to have an increase in EMS calls.
Right.
Are you going to increase that? Or is it going to be like, whatever? make do.
They're gonna make do. You know they will.
But here's the thing. And then when they do decide to increase those crews, guess who's going to pay for it? Not the developer. It's going to be all of us here that are going to
have to raise property taxes
to pay for something that was irresponsibly developed,
right,
in the first place.
So but if you're you're right. If you're gonna have the developers come in here, if the cost of doing business is they got to pay a little extra, well, fine, but make sure that money goes to the infrastructure.
Yeah.
I mean, how in the world they didn't get them to pay for the widening of College Parkway to encompass at this? I mean, I feel at this point, College Parkway needs to be 2 lanes in both directions, from Route 2 down to Cape St. Clair Road.
Yeah.
There's almost no getting around it at this point.
Yeah. And
until they do that, they should stop development.
Yeah.
Anywhere along College Parkway. But it's not just developers. And this is what I don't get. For whatever reason, the Zoning and Planning Commission of Anne Arundel County, or whatever they're called, they're not allowing rezonings that would make the area look better or help the area. For example, there's that area up by Route 10, and where 10 and 100 meet Route 2. Mm-hmm. There's that huge swatch of land. It's got a huge sign on it that says no trespassing, and it's zoned residential. And I remember years ago, the owners of that land wanted to get it rezoned commercial so they could sell it, and the county said no. And there is no viable reason for that piece of land to be a residentially zoned property.
Who's going to want to live there?
No one. On Route 2, where you have 2 to 3 lanes in either direction, and it's at this point, it's a divided highway, in most of it.
Yeah.
That's not a residential plot of land anymore.
No.
No one wants to have to pull. No one's going to pull from Route 2 going south into their driveway. Especially, you're definitely not going to do it not getting plowed in the back end by a truck.
Yeah.
So why not let them rezone it, turn it into a commercial property of some sort, and at least not make it an eyesore?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, are we only favoring houses because it brings property taxes?
No. Yeah, like commercial taxes bring residential brings, of course, revenue through property tax.
Right.
Commercial properties bring revenue through property tax as well, but they also bring revenue in through income tax from sales tax for whatever's generated in that business.
Sales tax goes to the state. It doesn't go to the county.
Yeah.
It's not going to the county.
Yeah, so
I mean, the residential property, it's ringing that register every year.
Yeah.
Commercial property, you might get some property tax, but I don't know. Maybe it's not as lucrative.
Or a job created, or
Right. Well, I mean, at this point,
or job brought into the community.
Well, it's almost you've got that case with the Village Inn, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone that lives in this area knows that the Village Inn is not a great place to be after dark.
Or during the day.
Or during the day, sure. And the gas station next to it, not the greatest place.
Yeah.
It brings a different element, all right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be the get off my lawn guy with this. The area is otherwise a nice area.
Yeah, you've got some nice single families that are right behind it.
Right. But you've got that, it's literally that little bubble right there of the town that's just a hole that nobody wants to go to. And everyone, you go on like the Facebook pages, and everyone says, well, why don't the owners do anything about it? How can they just let it be like that?
Yeah, they tried.
They have.
Yeah.
They went to the county to get it rezoned so that they could have put a nice hotel on it. Mm-hmm. Now, keep in mind, a little bit further down that road, there is, I believe, a Quality 8 motel.
Yeah, Quality Inn, I think it is.
They're Quality 8. It used to be a Comfort Inn.
Yeah.
And there's another, I think there's 2 hotels back there that don't have the problem of the Village Inn.
Yeah.
But they're also a little bit higher quality.
Yeah.
As far as they've got the main lobby that you can go into, and there's the nice person, the lobby's nice, and what you go to the Village Inn,
they probably have continental breakfast.
Right.
They give you your croissant and some orange juice.
Right. And the Village Inn's argument is, look, this area could use another one of those hotels. There's more than enough capacity.
Yeah.
We're getting the clientele we're getting because the rates we have to charge because our motel doesn't stack up to those.
Yeah.
And this is just who it's bringing in because we're the lowest price in the area.
Yeah.
And they've said, look, they put this on Facebook a few years ago that they went to the county to ask to be rezoned. I think they're C1, they want to go to C5 or something like that to be able to put up a higher rise hotel. And the county said no. Rejected them. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
And I remember that, and there was some argument about how that hotel provides a lower cost option.
Right.
And that hotel serves as a shelter for homeless or battered women, and all those are noble causes, don't get me wrong. And I'm not going to be a not in my backyard guy for that. So, if you were to say, okay, I want to make it, and I'll keep some rooms available for that cause.
Right.
At the cost I would have charged with the Village Inn.
I mean, isn't the county paying for that anyway then?
Yes.
So why not allow the increased tax revenue that the Village Inn could create as something else as a nicer hotel, and the increased tax revenue that the county would get, use that to pay the increased rate that the Village Inn's going to ask you to use for those purposes.
Yeah.
It can be used for the same purpose. But
so, if it's for the homeless or for a battered woman, she can't stay in a nice hotel,
right?
She has to stay in a Village Inn,
right? Why are you right for a battered woman? Why are you putting her in a dump anyway?
Yeah,
come on, pay the extra $25 and put her in a nicer room with the continental breakfast down the road.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be this way.
Yeah,
the county, the zoning people, or whoever's in charge of this, really need to be looked at. And I'm not saying there's fraud happening. I don't think there's anything like that happening. Not at this kind of county level. I mean, could there be? Sure. I just don't think it is. But whoever is making the decisions on this stuff needs to be looked at, because some of this stuff just doesn't make any sense, and it does affect the quality of living here. And I know that sounds very elitist of me, but when you buy a house somewhere, because of the lifestyle that it affords you, you expect that to be maintained.
Yeah.
I sound like a divorced lady. I expect my lifestyle to be maintained. But I mean, I don't think that's the reason why they're doing it though. They just approved the extra storage right around there.
Yeah. What's over there? You've got a BMW dealership,
the Montessori school,
right, and then across 50, you've got Jaguar,
Land Rover,
Land Rover, Infiniti, and Lexus.
Yep.
And then the highs, and then the Red Hot and Blue.
Yep.
And on the other side, so we already said BMW. You've got the Village Inn, the two hotels, Baymart, and there's some nice single-family homes that kind of go back and are behind Baymart.
And then you got the whole Whispering Woods community, which is a nice little community back there. Yeah. And I think there's some more townhouses built by the BMW dealership. You got the Montessori school right there.
Yeah.
But someone got stabbed at the Village Inn the other day.
Yeah.
Actually, I think someone got shot. I mean, stabbings are the normal occurrence. Someone actually got shot.
Stabbed.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, so you've got this place that's over by a school, some high-end dealerships, some car dealerships. Yeah. Not that they need to be protected, but then you've got people who purchased their homes, other hotels, and you've got this little bubble where people are getting stabbed and shot.
Right.
In an otherwise normally tranquil kind of neighborhood.
Yeah, my wife won't go to Baymont. My wife won't go down.
I won't go there.
Yeah, I do. I don't care.
Of course you do, but I won't. Listen, if I can go to Port Tack versus Baymart, I'm going to go to Port Tack because I don't have a very good chance of being stabbed.
Yeah.
My stab quotient goes way down. So you know what? I'm going to Port Tack.
Or at least on appearances. When you look at the appearance of what you're driving through, it's a little different. And the price between the two really, I think Port Tax is a little cheaper.
It could be, but again, I'm going because I'm not getting stabbed.
Right.
That does factor into me where I go.
Yeah. And then when the Green Valley's selling crabs, you can get crabs, and but then they have to when you're done with them, they have to sit in your trash can for a week before trash day.
Right. Yeah. So I guess I'm just trying to think of maybe the county's putting money elsewhere. Maybe it's going to North County. I don't know, because there's definitely no work going on in South County.
The South County is still pretty agricultural. Like once you get, sometimes when I come home from work, I come back, I come up through Route 2.
Yeah, so you're going through 214.
I'll take it off of Route 4.
Oh, okay. You're
going
come up down. Yeah. You're going down Calvert. Then.
Yeah,
okay.
And I'll come up that way. And when you're in Lothian Wason's Corner, right off Route 4, there's a couple little commercial things. There's a big bingo place down there. But once you get out of that, it gets real country real fast.
Yep.
And then you come up Route 2, and then you end up, and then Edgewater, the southern part, was Edgewater Colony and all that stuff that's right. Down there.
South River Colony.
Yeah, South River Colony, and then you come up.
Big houses up there, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Golf course, stuff like that.
That's honestly, I don't want to interrupt you. That golf course before it went private was one of my favorite courses in the state.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be like $79, $80. That was like my top end that I would ever pay for a golf course.
Mm-hmm.
But man, if that course wasn't just peaceful to play on with the water features and you ride through the big mansions and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And it was just a really nice course to play. But
and then even coming the other way from 214, you pass renditions. There's nurseries. It's pretty much agricultural.
Yeah, very much so.
Until you get to Edgewater. Then it starts to develop a little bit. Then you're in Annapolis, which of course everyone expects Annapolis to be developed. It's a city.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Baltimore City, but it's the city of Annapolis. And then you come getting up into where up to this area, which is very suburban. And I'm not going to go here and pretend that I want to look out over my horse pastures.
No.
Here, if
we wanted that, we got to go South County.
Yeah,
or we got to go to Calvert.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not. That's not. I don't think that's the case that either one of us is making.
Right.
And it gets more and more suburban to urban the further you go up Route 2. You get close to Baltimore. But what we don't want to happen is it's a nice balance. Well, it could be a nice balance. But if they continue with the unchecked development, however it's getting passed, well, then this is going to become another place like, Wheaton or Silver Spring, where it's just nothing but traffic. Yeah. And what's to stop them? Oh, now we're going to build an apartment building here. And now they just built that nice one down by the hospital. What's it called? The Maris or something like that. Mm-hmm. Nice, expensive apartment building. Right. But still, all the cars, every apartment for the most part, it's at least 2 cars. Yeah. Maybe 3, because there's a roommate situation. So now they all have cars. All those cars have to use the roads. They all have to go somewhere.
Yeah, I can always make the argument, though, that if you live in Annapolis, you kind of signed on for a little bit of traffic.
Oh, yeah.
You signed on to live in not a major city, but a minor walkable city, right?
You get an urban. You're signing up for a small urban environment,
right? In our scenario, when we bought these houses, when we lived in this area, we signed on for the suburban experience.
Yeah.
I didn't sign on for all this traffic because back 20 years ago when I moved here, the traffic wasn't this bad.
Mm-hmm.
But there were also 7 less developments that happened in this small space.
Yeah.
And granted, not everything is going to ever remain the same, right? Things change. I understand that. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be more development, but what I'm saying is if you're going to make adjustments to zoning rules and laws to accommodate some of these single-family dwelling residential neighborhoods, you should take care of the people that were already here and improve the infrastructure before this stuff goes in.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, by the way, if you're going to if the zoning rules and regs don't really matter because you're changing them for these developers anyway, why don't you change them for the people that are trying to make the space the space that they're in, like the Village Inn, better, or the place up on Route 2 where 2 and 110 meet better for the area? Mm-hmm. Why not make adjustments for them?
Yeah.
Like you're making adjustments for these developers that are putting in new homes, but you're not doing any adjustments for people that are already here.
Right. Businesses that are already serving the community that's here, and they'll serve the community of the new development as well.
Right. And at some point, the county, the people that work at the county, the elected officials of this county, they need to listen to the people that live in this county. Now, I get it. They might not care, and they're going to do what they want anyway. Mm-hmm. But at some point, a lot of local politicians probably have aspirations to be politicians at a higher level, or people that work in the county don't want their phone rung 55 times because decisions are being made not on behalf of the people that live here.
Yeah.
And I guess all that we're asking is that they take into consideration the people that live here and make decisions that make living here better before accommodating new developments that come here.
Yeah.
Because it's not that hard.
I think one of the important things is for the people who live here to stay involved and stay active and stay vocal. We can sit here and complain about it, but if we don't go to take that message to where it needs to go, then what do you really like? People who don't vote but complain about stuff. Well, you had an opportunity to voice your opinion at least once, but when they do these things, they put these notices and all, public hearing notices, and people generally ignore them.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people went to this last one, and a lot of people made us think about, and this is what gets me about this latest one, is that there was a comment period for these 3 parcels of land not to adjust them. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people voiced their opinion that they didn't want the zoning changed. And they changed it anyway. Mm-hmm. And now they're making more adjustments to it.
Yeah.
And people went on the Zoom zoning call again, and maybe people will listen to this and get the hint.
Yeah.
Between all the people that went to that Zoom meeting for that development and all the people that are listening to this, maybe the county will make a good decision this time and say, you know what, maybe we need to take a step back from this.
Yeah. Well, but who are these zoning people? Who do they answer to? Are they some commission? Are they career bureaucrats? Like I don't remember electing the zoning commission.
Nope.
So who's putting them there? Are they appointed by the county executive? Are they careerists? Like what are they? And who do they answer to? And that's one of the things, so if you have all these, sure, our county council members, state representatives, all our representatives of government answer to the public and are, can be held accountable for the decisions they make. But if this is just something that's being up to some shadowy backroom commission or whatever it's going to be that aren't answering to anyone, what I'm getting at is someone at some point they have to answer to somebody, right?
Right.
Whether that's a county executive,
unfortunately, I don't
council, whoever it is.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you and I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So, what's the answer for people that are listening to this? Call your county council, man or woman. Write to the zoning commission. Call the zoning commission or whoever decides on zoning for this county, and let them know that you are not happy with this. And let them know that you don't want some of these things to happen, or that you do want certain things to happen. And hopefully, we're a small area, and hopefully maybe we can make some changes that are good for the county, or good for at least the residents of this particular area where the concerns just don't seem to matter.
Yeah. And bring back our second trash day.
Right. We want our second trash day. I want to have crabs on a Tuesday.
Yeah. If I want to have crabs on Saturday, pick the trash up on Tuesday.
Right.
It doesn't need to be out there.
Crabs on Saturday.
The vultures might vote against it, but last time I checked, vultures don't vote. So
this would be a good campaign slogan for that. Anyone who wants to run for office. You can have crabs on a Saturday. I'll get your garbage picked up on Monday. But thank you for listening to this episode of the Dumb Idea Podcast, local edition. Hopefully we can put out more local shows in the